So Rush Limbaugh caught a lot of headlines yesterday because he made a comment about RBG's replacement. And what he's saying is that the Senate Judiciary Committee should skip all of the hearings that they have for the nominations, where they ask them questions and, grill them a bit, important questions sometimes. Skip all of that and just immediately go to an up or down vote as soon as you know that you have all of the votes that you need. Go ahead and check this out.
But, I mentioned that the Judiciary Committee does not have to do its thing. It's become a tradition, but it's not a requirement. And since Trump has already driven them crazy, since Trump's already, long before today, they are crazy, then why not just blow up another tradition? Because I'll tell you, that's how we're going to maintain the ones that matter. It is the very traditions and institutions that define this country that the left has in its crosshairs. They have to be defeated. This Supreme Court seat has to be confirmed. It has to be named and confirmed before the election. All this talk about waiting till after the election. Donald Trump was elected in 2016 on the very basis of the fact that he had a list of names and people were able to judge those names and his candidacy as a result. The 2020 election has nothing to do with this Supreme Court seat, folks. It has nothing to do with it. Don't fall for this idea that, this is so close to the election. We need to wait. We need to wait for the election so that the right president gets to make. No. We've already voted on the president gets to make this pick, and Donald Trump is he. The 2016 election is what this nomination is about, not the 2020 election, both in terms of timeline, legalities, and common sense. The 2020 election has nothing to do with this Supreme Court opening. I want the Judiciary Committee. I think it'd be great if it were skipped. We don't need to open that up for whatever length of time so that whoever this nominee is can be Kavanaugh'd or Borked or Thomas, because that's what it's going to be, especially when it's not even required. In addition, there are people on the Judiciary Committee who need to be out campaigning in October, not trying to deflect leftist attempts to distort the nominee's junior high school yearbook. And when the vote count is assured, Mitch McConnell needs to take it straight to the floor of the Senate and have the vote. And Murkowski and Collins and Romney, you three, you need to look at this a different way. You were elected. Your voters presume that you're going to be there at times like this. Don't tell me they did. Don't tell me your voters don't also support Donald Trump. You people, Romney, Murkowski, Collins, you are on the cusp of misreading your own voters about this. But when the vote count is assured, go straight to the floor for a vote. You know why? That protects the senators from being all out attacked by the Democrat mobs. It stops a whole bunch of that. We don't want to give Kamala Harris the opportunity to grandstand in that committee as a vice presidential running.
So this is pretty crazy that he's saying this, man. It's huge. The idea of just skipping all of that altogether is completely insane. Just skip all of the relevant processes that are typically included. But what I find hilarious about this is obviously we know the hypocrisy from 2016 that they had. So what he's trying to argue is that the 2016 election was for him to pick this SCOTUS judge. So what's hilarious about that is Obama had appointed 2 Supreme Court justices in his first term. So the voters knew what kind of judges he was appointing. There was always this unofficial list as well that he had. And yet it was, 9+ months left of his term, and they didn't even let him hold an up or down vote for Merrick Garland. So why is it that the 2016 vote was an affirmation and a permission for him to pick a Supreme Court justice 6 weeks before the election hits? But it wasn't enough. The 2012 election didn't give Obama the power to choose a Supreme Court justice in the final year of his election. Dude, if you're talking about there's 9+ months left in a presidency is 4 years long. Okay, if it's in if there's a year left of it, that's a pretty massive chunk of a presidency. It's about a fourth of a presidency right there. Why would you not be allowed to pick a Supreme Court justice, right? You're literally 6 weeks away from the election. Do you realize how close we are to this election? It's absolutely hilarious. It's insane. Okay, it's absolutely insane. And it makes no sense. And what it really tells me is that these people, Republicans, especially Rush Limbaugh, he is a massive psychopath who does not care about principles or consistency or anything of that nature whatsoever. It's all about power. For these people, it's all the ends justify the means. So if that means being a serial liar, making stuff up, not having principles, so be it. As long as it means that conservatives gain and consolidate power, especially with the Supreme Court justice. And I believe that not too long ago, when the deficits were skyrocketing over $1 trillion, pretty much he came out and said, oh yeah, we were just lying about the whole deficit concern stuff the whole time. We were just trolling about that too. So it's pretty clear what he's doing. And when he talks about Democrats grandstanding, it's funny that Republicans would talk about grandstanding. Republicans love grandstanding. Grandstanding is loved amongst all people. But, remember that time Mike Pence went to that football game, and then he posted a photo of himself from 4 years ago, wasn't even on that same day, and he did the whole walkout thing. All of that nonsense, all of that yada yada stuff. Trust me, this is absolutely insane that they're actually going to ram this through. I also find it pretty kind of funny that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was like, hey, my dying wish is please don't appoint my replacement until after the election. Republicans are just like, we don't give a fuck. We don't care. We don't even give the slightest of a fuck. They're just like, nope. Mitch McConnell comes out the day that she dies. We're ready to ram through a nominee. It's crazy how soulless these people are. They didn't even care at all. And this is why for certain things like the deficit or something like that, where you think that you're going to convince Republican voters to vote for you because you've balanced the budget or whatever, it's absolutely hilarious to me. Now, already Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins are both saying we will not vote for a Republican nominee, or I don't know if they said they won't vote for the nominee in an up or down vote, or if they will say that we'll refuse to vote, and that means that they won't take it for an up or down vote, Mitch McConnell that is. So it's 53 right now. The thing is, Mark Kelly is probably going to win his race. He gets sworn in on election day if he does end up winning, so that brings it down to 52. 52-48 is what that would end up being, which would mean that you would need to have 3 votes, okay? So you would still have to have Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins hold, but then you would also need one more pull-off, because in a tie in the Senate, the vice president comes in to break a tie, so Mike Pence would be the one coming in to break the tie there. So you would still need another vote, because Mark Kelly brings it down to 52 if you can hold it off till election day, which I'm not even sure. Typically, you would imagine that's how long it takes. Typically, it takes at least 6 weeks or more to appoint and to affirm a justice. After all the things that happen, that you need to ask them questions and figure out if they're qualified, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to see. But Mark Kelly brings it down to 52. 2 more votes bring it down to 50, which is what Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are. So that means you need 1 more vote. Mitt Romney does not appear to be that person. So you've only got a couple of options left. Is it going to happen? I don't know, but this is huge.